with a Monday night meltdown. We'll tell you exactly why Buffalo shuffled off with a win that might have grounded the Jets for good. Meanwhile, does the D in Big D stand for done? Wait till you hear what's about to happen to the Cowboys. Spoiler alert, it's not good. Plus, Sirianni says sorry. You'll hear how the most important voice in Philadelphia sports responded as we get up with you starting right now.
Go!
Stop.
Yeah!
There will be no joy,
Yeah!
no clapping, there will be no happiness.
Yeah!
No, I decree it. There shall be none of that. Because it was not a good game.
It was close, went right down to the wire. What more do you want?
By the way, I'm inviting the officiating crew to my house for Thanksgiving. I saw them so much last night on both
here
sides.
we go.
I feel like we're all good friends
Were
now.
you and Aaron texting about the rest? Was that happening?
No, he told me to lose his number. Roll the highlight. Here we go. Jets and Bills on a Monday night in a very windy night in New Jersey. The Jets' new brain trust there, Todd Downing and Jeff Ulbrich. Pick it up 2 minutes to go. Jets down 7-3, 3rd and goal. How about this play? Neat.
Oh, a little time machine, Aaron Rodgers. Buy some time with your legs, flip your hips, and deliver a perfect shot in the back of the end zone. Great body control, Garrett Wilson.
They originally call Wilson out of bounds. They review it. They look it over. They give the touchdown 10-7. He's got that dance. Meanwhile, 2nd and 10 Bills deep in their own territory. Jeff, how does he do this?
Look at this. Getting himself. How many times have we seen it this season? Running to his right, throwing back to his left, and drops a dime. Unbelievable.
Alien throw.
It really
no
is.
human can make that
On
throw.
the Manning cast, Peyton was yelling, throw it away. Instead, it leads to this touchdown. Mac Hollins is fired up. Bills extra point, no good. They're up 13-10. Then, Neek, how does he do this?
Another alien play. Being a Bills fan must be so damn fun. Just watching Josh Allen, the play breaks down, and that's when you get excited.
Another athletic play. Bills 20-10. Then that leads to this. Here we go at the end of the half. Graziano, you said these Hail Marys, he used to practice them.
When he was Brett Favre's backup, because this is a drill for the defense, so they put the backup quarterback in to make the throw. So Aaron says he worked at these, and now he's done it, 4 times in real games?
4 Hail Marys in his career. No other player has more than
Lazard didn't have anything to do with that. That was just a great throw all the way around. Yeah. There we go. Good call, Graz.
I'm just telling you what Aaron said.
Yeah.
When has he ever lied to us?
Graz, of course, is such an Aaron Rodgers fan. Jets go into the half down 3. Then Braylon Allen touchdown. But wait, it's called back. Jeff, is this a good holding call on Tyron Smith?
It actually is a good call.
Oh, nice job.
It is
That
a
little
call.
honesty.
You can't listen when a guy rips. You have to let him go. It's unfortunate. Not everybody. Aaron's not the only one who's getting a little older on the Jets.
2 plays later, Greg Zuerlein, we're not showing it to you because he made it.
Doink.
He did his best to knock over the goalpost last night.
You said early it was windy.
It was windy.
Clearly windy.
And it was certainly windy. Here he comes again.
Try it again.
Yep.
See if he can knock him down. Look how hard.
Doink. That's a terrible sound.
Jets fail to take the lead. Bills get the ball back.
No, I thought it was my fault. Thanks.
2nd and 7. It's Allen. It's Dalton Kincaid, and they are matriculated.
Yeah, quick decision by Allen right there. He makes an easy pass to convert. That was a nice play. It wasn't even magical.
2 plays later, 2nd and 7. That's Keon Coleman.
Nasty. That was what you call ripping it.
That
over
leads
there.
to a field goal, so it's 23-20 Buffalo. For the 3rd consecutive week, Aaron Rodgers has the ball at the end of the game with a chance to win. And for the 3rd consecutive week, they don't. But Mike Williams manages to get hurt on that play because, of course, he does. Falls down, it's intercepted. I'm just saying, if things couldn't possibly get worse, I don't know how they do. Bills win a thriller, 23-20. Everyone involved with the Jets looks kind of the way Aaron did there. Mr. Rodgers, let's talk.
This was a golden opportunity. Some games you win in the NFL, and some games you give away. This was a giveaway. I mean, we're terrible in the red zone. We missed 2 field goals. Didn't convert on a 2-minute drive. We had plenty of chances. Should have been a 30-plus point game on offense, and this shouldn't even be a conversation.
So obviously we got time to talk about this. If you're interested, put your feet up. We're not going anywhere for a little while. I'll give you my big picture, my 35,000-foot thoughts, and then we'll just dive into it. It's an ironic statement about a team called the Jets. They do all the things that winning teams don't do. Like, they don't get blown out of these games. It's hard to sit here and yell and scream. They've lost 3 consecutive games by a combined total of 10 points. They just do all the little things that winning teams don't do. They drop a pass. They have a miscommunication. They miss a field goal. The quarterback, unfortunately, late in these games, whether it is miscommunication or whether it is coming off the injury or whether it is that he's just getting older, he just doesn't seem to have, or at least has not had, the magic that we had seen from him in his career. The Jets, the teams that... What I'm trying to say is that the Jets aren't a terrible team. They're just one of the average teams in the NFL. And those teams, the ball bounces the wrong way on you sometimes. It has bounced the wrong way on them 3 consecutive times now. And unfortunately, it probably has buried them at this point. People are going to talk a lot about the easy schedule they have coming up. We'll see. That feels like a long way off right now. They put absolutely everything into this game. You fire the coach.
That's right.
You're basically you're saying, okay, this is the one where it's all going to turn around. And then you still have the same penalties, the same mistakes, the same issues. You keep losing for all the same reasons you've been losing. I don't know exactly where you go from there.
I'll put a little bit of a happy spin on this for you. They had 8 explosive plays of their 59 plays last night. That's 13%. That's highest of any team in all of football this year. The fact that they then got into the red zone and couldn't convert on touchdowns, that's another issue. But there's something positive to build on, something to be encouraged by. The fact that Aaron Rodgers gets the ball, that's the thing that's discouraging to me. I think for the Jets is the whole premise behind bringing Aaron Rodgers is, guess what? When we're down with 1 score and 1 minute left in the game, we got Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers with the ball, and each of those weeks have ended in a way that looks similar to if Zach was still back there.
This is the problem with trying to put it all together on the fly, right? Like, you can't import culture. Like, look at the Buffalo Bills, right? They built it from scratch. They got the quarterback. They built the team around him. They have an identity. They know who they are, and they learned how to win together. They went through the tough time together. The Jets haven't done that, right? You have a quarterback that just came in. You have, all these guys they added in the offseason that are playing together for the first time. They just fired the coach. Like, I don't know how you can sort of have, organization-wide trust. Like, what are you going to fall back on when things don't go well? The Jets have not established that for themselves, and I think that makes the difference in these close.
I'm going to have to humbly disagree. You can import culture because Tampa did, and they imported culture, and it won with Tom Brady. And that was what the Jets fans were expecting when they brought Aaron Rodgers in. Because you remember when Tom got there with BA, there was some issue. They had some battles early. It wasn't like they just started that gate just ripping and roaring. The issue is they fired their head coach 5 weeks into the season because they panicked, as opposed to letting this thing play out and continue to develop.
Stable organization in Tampa that knows what it's doing, right? Like, that's the difference.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I think that was the expectation of Jets fans, was that it was going to be a Tom Brady, Peyton Manning-like, entrance into this team, and it has not shown that way. And to your point, when you say, our defense is going to be good enough, how many times do people say, as long as the defense is just average, Aaron Rodgers, we're going to win a bunch of games? I'm sure I said it. I'm sure there's a lot of people who said, hey, as long as the defense is just average, well, giving up 23 points is pretty decent, right? Did they shut the Bills down? They didn't. Are they all-world? No. But when you give the Hall of Fame quarterback 3 different opportunities, 3 different weeks in a row to go win and close it out, and he doesn't, and everything's about the referees. Was it not windy for Josh Allen? Because maybe the wind stopped. I'm not sure. But were the same? They had 11 penalties as well. They had a lot of the same stuff going on. They found a way to win, and the Jets don't find a way to win.
Allen's throws are impervious to win.
That's right.
He goes right through the wind.
He does
not care. But look, first of all, the Tom Brady stuff, forever and ever and ever, if everybody's expecting literally anyone else to be Tom Brady, they're always going to be disappointed.
For sure.
He is the outlier of all outliers in NFL history. So let's look at what the Jets are. You're supposed to have an elite championship caliber defense. Well, a rookie backup running back just went for 150 yards on you on Monday Night Football. What are you doing?
Right.
They could not stop Ray Davis in the first half. And salute to Ray Davis, great game. But, you've got to be able to do that. The Bills are banged up. They were outmanned.
Yeah.
You should win that game at home, and the Jets didn't do it because they don't have what the Bills have, which is cohesion and identity. You can't. If your identity is, hey, we have Aaron Rodgers now, that's not really anything to build on.
Agreed.
When you haven't made the playoffs in 14 years, you'll try and find anything you can. That's why I said last week, these problems existed long before Aaron Rodgers got there, and they're going to continue long after he's gone.
That's exactly what I'm saying, though. The Bills went 17 years without making the playoffs.
Right.
The team got
And then
sold.
what happened?
The team got sold.
Oh.
And they hired a coach in Sean McDermott and a GM in Brandon Beane who had a plan for what they wanted to do, and they were patient with it, and they built it together. We're seeing it happen in Detroit.
Right.
There are places where you see this done well. What the Jets are trying to do was always a high wire act, and I don't think it was.
I mean, I guess it was always a bit more risky to try to import all of this culture, like you're saying, but we can't sit up here and pretend like we thought it was a bad idea.
No.
Like, now it looks ridiculous, but we all seem to think it was a good idea.
We thought it might not work.
Yeah, we thought it might not work, but I think we believed it'd be better than it is now. The thing about the defense that we keep talking about, and they are a good defense, but they aren't the great defense that I think we thought they were, because it's different when you set up Zach Wilson to win and he doesn't win, and then we can all look at the defense and say, well, you did everything you could do, but the defense needs to do a little bit more also. I understand that 23 points is not a lot, or is a good outing for the defense, but there were several times in that game where I was like, all right, you're this Jets defense.
Right.
Get a damn stop right now. And when they needed those stops, they weren't getting them.
You know what we can say of the Jets defense? They're not nearly as good as they think they are. That's the truth. The Jets defense is merely good. It's not great.
Right.
It's good.
They didn't start good, but they finished well. Listen, they gave up 3 points in the second half. If you are the Jets offense, you cannot. There's ebbs and flows in the NFL. They didn't start great. I agree. He ran for I think almost 100 yards in the first half. So he's running through them. But at some point, you hold the team down to 3 points. By the way, in the last 6 minutes of the game, they get the 3 points. So they held them. They gave the Jets offense every opportunity. But again, missed field goals, penalties, bad decisions. There's a litany of excuses to be made, but the reality is they get in their own ways. And to put this at the foot of the defense, again, this is like putting it at the feet of Salah. It's pointing blame in the wrong places. At the end of the day, and it's going to be the worst part. They're going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoff. They're going to get somewhere close. Everybody in the AFC is going to be 500, right? There's going to be a couple outliers, but there's not a lot of teams running away with it. Even this Bills team isn't a great team, y'all. God love them. They're playing better than I think they should, but this is not the Jets should not get run away from, because they're going to win a few, lose a few. It's going to be kind of an ugly, but that's the problem. The expectations were Super Bowl or bust. They ain't a Super Bowl team.
Here's what I'll say of the Bills. This is the worst the Bills are going to be for a long time. That's the other. You're catching them. When you have a quarterback like Josh Allen, you're going to have this, then a little of this, got to reset the captain, this, then a little bit. They're in the little bit of this phase. Yeah. Right. This is when they had to get rid of all those players on defense. And Stephon Diggs left, and for whatever reason he left. This is the worst Buffalo is going to be for the foreseeable future. They'll get really, really good again. There's a whole other conversation to be had about that, where they had that window there and they didn't get the Bills, they didn't win a championship. And they're going to be way better than this. That's the point. It was sitting right there for the Jets with Rodgers. And Cindy, let's put A42 up on the screen if we can here, because this, look, I can present it almost without comment. Last year, the Jets through 6 games had a better record. They had scored exactly the same number of points. You see the turnover differential. Who's the other team they beat? Oh, Tennessee is the game that they won. Right. Not a great team. So if it sounded at the beginning like I was making excuses, that's the opposite of what I want to do. This wasn't about the officiating, even though I thought the officiating, it didn't decide the game. It just made it no fun to watch at all from both sides. They just decided last night, we're going to call everything a penalty, because obviously that's what people watching Monday Night Football want. So they just made the game less fun, but they didn't decide the game. The win didn't decide the game for one side any more than the other, or it shouldn't have. The Jets lost the game because they do all the things losing teams do.
That's right.
And that is what, when you bring the great quarterback in, that, Dan, is the thing you think is going to get cleaned up.
Yes.
The attention to detail, all that stuff that Peyton Manning brought with him to Denver, and that Tom Brady brought with him to Tampa, and that to this point, Aaron Rodgers has not brought with him to the Jets.
Tom Brady got to Tampa. He broke NFL rules and possibly local laws by gathering during a pandemic to get on the same page with his receivers.
On a high school field.
Aaron Rodgers went to Egypt during mandatory minicamp.
Yeah,
who among us has not done that?
I think that does do it. I think it's unfair to pretend like that's the only issue, but I think that does exemplify a personality that permeates the team. And so when you're in a leadership position, and that's head coach and quarterback, No one else has as much influence on the culture as that guy. And
Right.
if for whatever reason it doesn't seem as important to him as other players feel like it should be, when you do have issues with timing and issues with penalties, it's going to look like, hey, maybe you should have practiced a little bit
And
more.
drops.
Or maybe, drops. Or maybe you should have paid more attention to the things that are small and you think don't matter. That's something that maybe he doesn't need, but he needs to set that example for the team.
Let's play Troy Aikman, because this is the thing that if you're a fan of the Jets, this is the thing that you were most worried about, is that Troy Aikman is right when he forecasts this for the near future.
I could see this totally unraveling. Maybe that won't happen. I know the players won't agree with that, but I could see it happening because I think they put so much into this week to winning a game and getting back on track. And the owner says this is the best team he's had in 25 years, all those things. But they didn't get it done. And so they're right back where they were. And now what's the answer for them? They don't have it.
I fear he's right.
The Jets need to go into a dark room and self-reflection. They need to find it. Find their inner whatever.
Did you mean that purposely because of Aaron and his dark rooms?
Yeah, the guy.
Yeah.
But let's find something, because it needs self-reflection, because these are player issues, not just coaching issues. This was my problem with the whole Robert Saleh firing. And whether you like it or dislike it, whatever it looks, these are player issues. The drops are player issues. The penalties are player issues. The missed field goals are player issues. These aren't just laid at the feet of a coach. And so at some point, responsibility and accountability's got to go to the 53 in that locker room. And so far, we have not seen that.
How do you respond is the big question. And I think we've pointed out that they're in a conference that no one's running away with it, and they still have a good chance of making the playoffs. So this may serve to be, you would think that they don't need a wake-up call because they've already had multiple wake-up calls up until this point. And firing Robert Saleh, I think, was the final, like, everyone, pay attention. Your jobs are all on the line. Our window is closing. And then that's why you hear Troy say what he said, because that felt like the game where everyone was supposed to show up and be a new version of themselves.
That's right. To be very clear that I'm not trying to make a legitimate analogy here, but once you have tried the nuclear option and it didn't work, where do you go from there? You've already made the biggest move you can possibly make.